Social media is the gold rush of the modern age. A few thousand no's get to a few sacred yeses. I can, I am unstoppable. They embrace their own individuality. That's what sets them apart. When you're not operating at a level that you're satisfied with, having to admit that to yourself hurts.
Welcome to the Freedom Property Podcast, the modern real estate brand empowering excellence. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back in the studio today. I have got Mr. High Performance himself from Set the Standard, Mr. Corey Boutwell.
Josh, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Are you liking my intros?
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I was like, that's really cool.
I've been working on them. We're getting there. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Yeah, it was
Good
nice
to see you.
Nice drive up. Good to see you as well.
We're normally talking via Skype, aren't we? Every now and again. And
yeah.
We have our little moments.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought today we could dive into, you're surrounded by high-performing men, people that are kicking goals. Let's start there. What does a high-performance man look like these days?
So I think like a real good definition of this is, and Tony Robbins talks about it, it used to be good, right? It used to be a certain level of like, I can be sort of proud of the work that I do because I put in a good amount of effort. And then it sort of used to come up to like, okay, but what is a great amount of effort, right? In terms of having your own standards for yourself. Like what is great? And just noticing that the difference between good and great is so small, but the results are so big.
Yeah.
And I think that like we're living in a world at the moment, from what I can see, because I've worked with like hundreds of men and I've run like retreats around Australia. I've worked with amazing people like yourself. And what I noticed is like the little bit of difference is it's integral to your word. That's the main thing that I see.
Yep.
And a lot of struggles that come up for people that prevents them from getting there is what I see most of the time usually comes down to some sort of self-worth or mindset issue.
Yep.
So you can have someone who is operating at such a high level, but their relationship's falling to the ground. They're fat as hell. They're stressed out their eyeballs. Like the first client that I worked with was a 21-year-old multimillionaire, and he had a heart attack at the age of 19 from punching energy drinks and driving late in his car, getting McDonald's and Cokes because he's just thinking about ideas about how to make money. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all it was. And yeah, cool. Like he made millions of dollars, but completely sacrificed all his health at that age. Yeah. And he was like, help me get my shit. Understood. So
what do you do with someone like that?
Yeah. So, well, for someone like that, I have like a hierarchy that I follow. And I think it's one of the most fantastic things. I liked Maslow's hierarchy, which I learned at uni. And that is a hierarchy for motivation. So a lot of theoretical minds listen to like Maslow's hierarchy and they use it. Abraham Maslow is a great like philosopher and like psychologist kind of guy. And I was like, well, it's kind of outdated now because Maslow's hierarchy, the very first step in it was like physiological needs. Do you have a roof over your head? Have you got somewhere to sleep? Is there food on the table? I'm like, well, if you're living in Australia, America, or like London, or any in the Western world, like we don't really have that problem, right? It's a little bit different. So we have this, I feel like this little bit of a sense of entitlement, you could say, which does prevent people from doing really hard work later on. So I created a hierarchy and I started following it myself and it worked, and then I applied it to someone like that. And we went through, because it essentially goes physiological health needs, which is like your actual body and your mind. How optimized is it? Is it up to scratch? Are you as fit as possible? Are you as intelligent as possible? The next one's self-love. You know when you have someone who's really confident? It's because they like themselves, right? The one after that is stress. How much stress can you handle is the question, right? Because if you're at work and something happens and you start having like a breakdown or like a mental, what's going on here? It's like, you can't handle much stress, man. You're up to here. How can we get that stress down? Could be from a while ago. Yeah, right. You could empty it. It could be like learning.
Clearing the swamp, as you say.
Yeah, exactly, right? Then the next one, which I think is the most important, is like your relationships. Like how well are you at building relationships, keeping relationships, like holding relationships to a high standard, intimate personal relationships, and then obviously a real estate agent is like you're dealing with relationships all day, every day, right? So your ability to be charismatic is super important. The next step after that is finances. But the question is not like, how much finances am I making? It's what are the finances that I desire to live what are the finances that I need to live my most desired life? Answer that question. For some people I work with, they're like, got it. Other people, it's like, oh, I'm a little bit off. And some people are like, fuck no, I'm nowhere near it, right? And when you map out, like a good way to doing that is mapping out like an ideal year. Like what does my ideal year completely look like and how much does that actually cost?
Yeah.
Cool. Some people are 1 year off. Some people are 20, 30 years off, right?
Yeah.
Most of us are like in between. The next question that is, what hierarchies am I climbing is the next one.
Yeah.
So for me, being a professional bodybuilder, I'm climbing bodybuilding hierarchy. Being like all of my marketing is on Instagram. So I'm climbing an Instagram hierarchy.
Yep.
And then I'm in the personal development coaching realm. So I'm climbing a hierarchy in there. Also have a podcast in self-improvement. Climbing a hierarchy in there. What hierarchies am I climbing? Climb them. Be competitive.
Yeah.
And then the top one is, hey, how am I giving back? What's the impact that is going to make me feel happy? So before I die, I go, yeah, I'm proud of myself. Yeah. So for him, he had the finances. We just went straight down to the bottom one. Bang.
Yeah.
Let's start here.
So you believe that there is something missing in the hierarchy.
Yep. Somewhere for some.
And you find that part and then you fix that part of the hierarchy.
Yeah. I feel like most people know because it's it's quite regular. Like I remember when I had the hierarchy and for him, I was like, where am I going to put him in this? Because like he has, for his age, he has all the finances that he needs. Like 2 million in the bank account. You know, there's money coming in every single month. I was like, where am I going to, do I have to change this around? I was looking at the model. Then he was talking to me and I explained it to him and he's like, well, let's start at the bottom. I was like, yeah, like that's exactly where you are.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you've ticked the finance box, but the argument in the hierarchy is the bigger the base, the taller the building that you can create.
Nice.
So it all starts like, okay, what can I do with my mindset and my physique? And we know anytime something shit happens, right? So you have a breakup or you get really injured or you lose all your money or you move overseas or you make a shitty investment or you get really down on yourself, depression, anxiety. It's like the number one thing that fixes everyone is like first, it's like get into the gym. Definitely. Get fit as you can. Like start eating healthier. Everyone knows that. It's
sad that something like that has to happen to want to spark you into doing that though, you know, like how so rather than something bad happening to spark this person into doing that, like how do you motivate them for them to do that before the drama?
Yeah, it's really cool. As self-awareness is the key to that one.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a consistent practice to bettering yourself in terms of whatever that amount of energy is. So I remember, I'll just use as an example, I was like, okay, I want a partner, right? And I was like, I'm focusing on my business. I'm focusing on growing. I want to be the best version of myself. So I'm doing all the work. So how much of a percentage of a work at the moment do I want to put in to going out and courting someone? And I was like, okay, about 10% of my energy. Cool. How much is that? That's roughly 30 to 45 minutes per day if we're awake for 16 hours a day. That's what I figured out. So I would spend 30, 45 minutes at the end of every day on Tinder, on Instagram, on things going until I met Chloe, right? And I was like, done. Like, you know, that was like a way of dedicating that amount of energy. Now, what's cool is when you start progressing, say through the hierarchy and you're becoming better and you're achieving more and blah, 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 you think, oh, I'm all good, right? Your ego gets in. I'm all good. I don't need to do that. That's fine because I'm making more money here. Or I'm doing this thing here. So I'll let that slide just this once. I'll let that slide just this once. I'll let that slide. Holy shit, I put on 10 kilos. Yeah. And like, I hate myself at the moment, right? So I think like one part of it in the real world, like a real awesome solution to that is just accountability. It's having the right people around you and making sure that they're there in your environment. Like I know you've built an awesome environment at Freedom Property and there's going to be heaps of accountability there. So one thing that we do in Set the Standard, it's like why guys come to calls every single week for a year, 2 years, because they're like, I need to be held accountable so that doesn't slip. Yeah. Otherwise, the self-awareness is being aware of your own thoughts and your actions and what you're doing so well that you can pick yourself up when you're not operating at a really high standard.
Yeah, you don't know where you're at until you get around the right people.
Yes, yeah.
It's like I used to think that I was like pretty strong, you know, like I used to be like, I got a good body, you know, like, but then you get to CrossFit and you're like, wow, okay, humbled. You get owned and you get whooped every single session and you leave there just on the floor, you know, it's, you know, it's being around the right crew, like being around people like yourself who are very emotionally intelligent and you think, okay, well, I need to work on this. I need to maybe ask a few more questions, slow down. It's about having the right circle, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And being just aware of your ego. It's just having like one skill that I had to develop is trying to have a neutral mind at all times. Of like, regardless of anything someone says, unless I am 100% on the fact and I know exactly why what they say is true or untrue, then I'll disagree or I won't disagree.
Is that non-judgmental?
Not judgmental, like at all. Sometimes it bites me in the bum because I'll say things that are really like insensitive because I'm just curious. Like, whoa, you're talking about that topic. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm just genuinely curious. Like asking a question before I can, move forward or take action on something. But it's the same thing with your thoughts and your emotions, right? And it's, as you said, consistently humbling yourself is really powerful. But trying to use like an example of like one thing that I had to swallow was when I got injured last year. So I was like floored for like 8 months, essentially. I had a bulging disc in my L5 S1 just from sitting down. I didn't do anything, right? Just from sitting down. And for me, if someone who's like, I'm like a bodybuilder, I train hard every single day. I do my warm-ups. I eat so healthy. I go for walks. And it was like, I let the pressure of business and running a team and running events and feeling overwhelmed, but I've got so much to do. And I was being a lot of busy, but not so much productive. Short period of time later, manifests in a bulging disc. It's like, hey, bang, floored because you're way too stressed out. And I had to really swallow that bitter pill of like, I've been a stressed out lunatic, micromanaging, all these different things. And now it's manifested in an injury. Makes sense. It's time for me to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I want to touch on that non-judgmental thing.
Yeah.
Because like that's a very, very hard place to be, especially for someone like yourself. Like you are a high performer. You expect the best of yourself. So you probably do judge yourself.
Yes.
Even if how do you stop judging yourself?
It's a really good question. It's a commitment to forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right. It really is a commitment to forgiveness. And when you, that's why I like some of the psychology stuff that some people do of like inner child work of just like really thinking about yourself when you were younger and sending that person a lot of love, like thinking about moments of like when I was a child and my relationship with my parents and, some things that I went through that may be challenging or amazing as well.
Yeah.
Times that you won and kicked ass. And reflecting on that is really powerful.
Yeah.
Dan Sullivan calls it, he's like an entrepreneur's coach. There's a book that's written if you want to listen to this topic, really awesome. It's basically like anti-tall poppy syndrome because tall poppy syndrome is what makes people compare and judge.
Yep.
And essentially tall poppy syndrome is basically like you're not okay with your own mediocrity, so you want to bring other people down, right? And when you're not operating at a level that you're satisfied with, having to admit that to yourself hurts more than bringing someone else down.
Yeah.
Right? So you're already judging yourself so much, and then you judge them, bring them down so that they can't get to the next level. Right.
Yeah.
And then you can confirm your own mediocrity. Your own mediocrity is okay when it's not. Right? So Dan Sullivan talks about this in the book, Gap in the Gain. If you compare yourself to your future goal and where you want to be, it can bring a lot of insecurity.
Yeah.
If you compare yourself from where you have been, it makes you feel more confident,
definitely
more self-assured.
Yeah.
Because you look back, anyone who's listening to this, even yourself, if you look at you from a year ago until today, holy shit, right?
Seriously.
Holy shit, growth, insane. With another baby and everything, whoa.
Yeah.
When you look at it, how can you not feel good about that?
Yeah. So you got to picture the little Corey, the little Joshy, and you're just like, it's okay, brother, come here, give me a hug, and you love them. And I think kids do that as well.
Yeah.
And like healing, like sometimes, we've all got our stuff going on with our families and whatnot. And, they're seeing your daughter with your mother, maybe that's a healing thing, or your son with your dad, or like that's a healing thing as well, a healing moment, which you'll find out about soon. So it's interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So what are these high performing people that you're around? And obviously we're talking a lot about men. There's a lot of men that watch your show, but there's also a lot of women. So women, ladies, tell your man to hook up with Corey and get to know this guy because he's definitely going to help them. But what are these high performers like? What does a normal day for them look like? Like what's setting them apart?
It so depends. Right? What sets them apart is that they embrace their own individuality. Right? That's what sets them apart. Right. And it does come back to that self-awareness piece. I know I'm using the same answer again, but it's true. So I went and spent a day with one of my highest performing friends. His name's Jogo, and he owns a construction company called GCD in the Gold Coast, right? And he is absolutely crushing it. And he's one of the most positive people I've ever met in my entire life. And I was like, Joe, I just want to document a day with you. Can I do that? And he's like, yeah, come with me for a day. Right. So I'm at his house, get there like 3:50 in the morning because he wakes up at 3:20 every day. Right. He's already meditated, right? With like walking to his house. I'm like, why does it smell like weed in here? Right. And he's like, oh no, that's just like an incense, like a hash incense or whatever it was. He's like a hash and some sort of mushroom and some Ayurvedic incense, right? That he's got in his house that he meditates to. And then he gets pumped up. We get into his car. He's listening to these pump up songs, just yelling affirmations at himself. I can, I am unstoppable. I am better than no one. I am humble. I am the light. Like, you know what I mean? Like in the car.
So good.
We're at the gym, 5 o'clock in the morning. They're like, no one else is awake and we're, like that's it for the whole day. Then he's just bang, 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 meeting. And every person that he meets is just like, he's pumping them up and lifting them up, right?
Sick.
That's his.
So good.
One of my other friends is a really high performer. Like he's a young entrepreneur who's got lots of different, beautiful body, so good around women as well, right? But he loves the geeky stuff. He's so into crypto. He's got multiple streams of income, and most of his cash comes from YouTube. He will wake up around 6:30. He'll go for a walk on the beach, or he'll work for about an hour. Then he'll walk on the beach and ponder for like an hour and a half. And then he'll go do runs with his friends or then go train at the gym and then come back home and have a meeting and then create content for like an hour or two and then, see some more friends and have dinner with friends and then go create again for, an hour later.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like they are doing like exactly what their heart wants them to do.
So good.
And they still have a commitment to health.
Yep.
Right. They've got a commitment to becoming intelligent. They all learn all the time. That's probably one of the main ones is everyone's so dedicated to learning and improving themselves because they see like the reason that both of them want to do it. I'm just using those two for an example, but this is everyone that I work with as a high performer is they just want to see their own full potential. They're like, I have more in the tank. I've got more in the tank. And
Why?
I'm born for something better.
Why?
Don't know.
Where does that come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know where that comes from. Right. Just a feeling. I think everyone has it, and some people are shameful for listening to it, and they don't think they're worthy enough to express it, but they want to express it in their own way, and they've started to figure it out, and they ask for help. And people who get stuck and can't get to the next stage, like they're not dedicated to 100% being themselves.
Yeah.
And that is like the main difference.
Yeah.
Because when you become who you are, so people say, how do I become the best, most ultimate version of yourself? Just become you. When you're 100% authentic and you feel free to be yourself, like free in mind, free in body, you do what you say you're going to do. He who cannot command himself must obey. Command yourself. How can you not succeed?
Can't wait till you have kids, eh?
What's that?
It's just going to like... It's just going to change something like, because where I'm at the moment, it's like I've got all of that.
Yeah.
But then I've got the kids part that's like throwing me like into like chaos at the moment. So it's like, I can't get this done, or I'm not sleeping 100%, or I'm like, so you just in this land of chaos at the moment with a 6-week-old and a 2-year-old. So I can't wait to see how you handle that one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Because, and that would be cool for us, people of my age and things that people are going through a similar sort of thing to me, to see you maybe interact with some of those people.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I'd like to get, I'd like to see how these guys deal with that.
I have worked with quite a few guys that have kids.
Yeah. Like I'm like very strategic with my calendar.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, Tan, if you want me, just book me in.
Yeah.
Like it's not a negative. Like I will treat you like, a princess at that moment.
Yeah.
But I can't be there for everything, for everyone all the time. I need my gym sessions booked in. I need this booked in. I need, if it's a night off, you want me to have a night off, book the night in.
Cool. Yeah. So I would say this, if you went back to the hierarchy on this one, people listening, this would be like come under the relationships section, this one. And the important thing for this is like when you're in chaos is to make sure that you have verbal agreements that you've both agreed on and you both understand. And that's how it can get away. Because as I said, one thing that the high performers have is they're all committed to their own individualism, which is a term that Carl Jung used, which is becoming an individual, right? And that's becoming yourself. So what it is like, I assume that that's going to happen. And with the people that I've worked with who have children, this is what it is they have their own family dynamic and it's unique, right? And the agreements that are happening between the mum and the dad and the kids are agreements that are to be agreed on, right? It's boundary setting, right? Of how we can do X, Y, Z. There's 3 types of boundaries. Do you know what they are?
Go over them. Yeah.
Intellectual boundaries.
Yep.
Emotional boundaries. Physical boundaries.
Yep.
Intellectual boundaries are all around freedom of thought and speak. And you feel okay to think whatever you want to think, and you feel okay to speak whatever you want to speak. And a good way to show that you've got these set up in place is, let's say you've got 3 of your friends talking about something, and they're all maybe bitching about someone, and you can call them up and say, hey guys, we don't need to be talking about that. You know what I mean? That means you've got good intellectual boundaries. Emotional boundaries is you can experience a wide range of emotions without acting or impulsing on them reactively. Then physical boundaries, and you can distance yourself safely. Plus, you don't discriminate yourself or feel discrimination by touching someone else, like no matter who they are. Like, depending, that's really challenging for some people, right? Depending on their past and stuff. But that's a good demonstration that you've got all of those different boundaries. But what are those boundaries, right? They're standards, essentially, right? They're standards that you and someone else have agreed on. So unless, like, for example, you haven't got like your partner's permission, or they don't feel comfortable booking something into your calendar, it's like, let's figure out a way that we can agree on together, that we both agree. And once that agreement has been set, it's like, cool, now we have to fight for that agreement and make sure that.
Do you write these things down?
Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't. You know what I mean? It depends. Like for you, like maybe there's like, you got a lot more stuff than I have, right? There's a lot more moving parts. You might have to put them on a whiteboard every day. You know what I mean? Like, so it all depends on how you do it. But I think the most important thing is making sure that you agree on whatever that is first, and be able to come up with it. And I do think that anyone who is committed to excellence, it's a little bit harder when you're losing sleep, but when you're committed to excellence, you're also committed to being able to articulate yourself. You have a better memory, like you have like better focus, because you are working on yourself with everything else. It's like, well, you should be able to remember, right? And if you don't, it's like, because we all know when you forget something, and you're like, I'm assuming what goes to your bound is, damn, fucking forgot that. I'm gonna be better next time. I'll be more organized. I'll put that in my calendar. I'll look over it again. Damn, I'm so sorry. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, there's nothing worse, is there?
There's nothing worse.
Letting someone down or letting yourself down, and you hang on to these things. And this is what you're saying before about letting things go and clearing room. Clearing things out of the swamp. So if something does happen, you talk, you let it out, you get your group of friends around you, and you say, I fucked up.
Right.
This is what I did, and you're forgiven. You forgive yourself. You move forward. And you're like, here we go. And you learn, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I like to call it, like when I'm working with people, if I know that there's just clutter in their life, whether it be emotionally, mentally, relationship, environmentally, we just call it the purge, right? It's a moment on the hero's journey called apotheosis. And that is, all right, let's get rid of all of the old so that we can make room for the new. I had one of my clients, I didn't know, it's a one-on-one client, right? He had something like 300 t-shirts and like 30 coats, because he lives in New York. Like literally, he's like, everything was so sorted. I'm like, there's something here that's like doesn't fit. And like we're gonna. I knew that we had to go through an apotheosis purge thing. I'm like, what else do we need to purge of us and questions? And he was like, I've got a lot of t-shirts. I was like how many t-shirts? He's like, dude, I have a lot of t-shirts
every day of the year.
Literally. So he's thrown pretty much all of them out, everything. And like his whole life is just like changed around because he's been creating room. And, sometimes naive, because there'll be people listening and areas where we'll be like, oh, I haven't got anything like that. And I'll say, well, how many people are you following? Oh, I'm following 2,000 people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of people to be following, man.
Yeah, I'm following 2,000 people.
Oh, here we go. Josh, after this, delete.
Yeah. Tan keeps telling me, you need to delete a lot of people afterwards.
Well, it's true, because it's cluttering, right? Yeah. Like it really does. And it's like, it's the same thing with, anything that's disorganized. Like one thing that we do and set the standard, I recommend everyone doing this. Every time someone joins our community, the first thing we do is we get them to organize their phone screen, right? All the old apps, goodbye. Here's how you coordinate folders. Here's how you use widgets. Set them up now, the ones that we recommend. Here's how you have your notifications. Turn all your shit ones off. Gone. Which ones do you need? Text messages, phone calls, bank deposits, because that looks nice when it comes in, right? That's about it. You know what I mean? Like that's all I have, and then my one-on-one clients and my team.
You sparked me to finish my training program. When we were working together, it was just something I really wanted to complete and finish, because it was just hanging, over here, and I was just wanted to get it done. And you sparked me into doing that. And what we did is we looked into what I could release from my life. And you were like, what don't you like doing? And I was just like, don't like doing that. And you're like, well, you're not doing it anymore. And I was just like, all right. And then you said, and you're also going to say no to everything for the next few days.
Yes.
And I was just like, all right, I got this. And literally like the next day I said yes to something, and it just was like, my life just went into a spiral. And I was just like, and you're like, we said we were going to say no. And I was like, all right, okay, so yeah, I'll try it again, start again. And then I started saying no to things, and people started to figure them out. And they started to roll, and then I stepped away from this part here, and someone else rolled in and picked it up. And then now I've freed up this time, and I've started to be able to complete things, and now I don't have as much chaos.
Are you ready to supercharge your real estate game? If so, then you should join our agent growth training program and community. Here you will learn the tips, the tricks, the processes, the strategies to dominate your local marketplace. If you want to become the #1 agent in your area, agent growth is for you. If you'd like to join, follow the link below and you can sign up for free.
Man, we have a plague of people pleasing, right? It is a plague. The yes men thing is in everyone so ingrained, because every time that we say yes or do something for someone, we get to give love, we feel received. And that helps confirm us that we're a good person, that we're a good guy, that we're doing the right thing, that we're good enough. So it's this validation. So we have this addiction to doing things for other people. And I love this test, right? And the challenge that you did, it was really cool to use, is just say no to everyone for a week.
Yeah.
Just for a week.
Yeah.
However, if they ask again, you can say yes. But you just have to say no first.
Yeah.
Hey, can you please do this thing for me? Even your partner, no.
Yeah.
And then they go, what? What do you mean? I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, but I really need to do it with your partner. Like, I'm actually rushing to this thing. Oh, okay, you know what I mean? But when you do that first, especially when you're an entrepreneur and, you are the business owner and you have people that you have to lead, and they start asking you this, and they go, no, they start thinking, oh shit, what am I going to do about this? He can't do it, right? So it starts freeing up a lot of time, and then you start noticing how powerful your no is. And then you can start breathing into the sentence, a few thousand no's get to a few sacred yeses.
So good.
Those yeses are so good. Do you feel proud that you completed the?
Yeah, really proud. Like it's something that's there now, and I can always, if people are asking me these questions, I'm not going to solve them for you anymore because it's module 5. And all you got to do is watch module 5 maybe a few more times, because you clearly haven't if you're asking me that question. So go watch it and then come back to me, which is saving me so much time, so. Yeah, and this is where we're at. We're in this growth mode at the moment, and I've got a lot of younger agents coming through the ranks who are going to be fantastic, but they do need a lot of help and they need a lot of guidance, and I'm here to give them that without trying to, do it for them, because I want them to own this. I want them to be, be the people that they know that they can be, so yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to watch this business grow. If you're following Corey and Chloe, his missus, on socials, you'll see how relentless you are on social media. It's like how many posts a day are you doing?
Definitely 2.
But more than that.
Sometimes 2, but there's a while. Sometimes
feels like you're doing like 15.
Well, if you do good quality content, it does pop up. So there was periods where we were doing 4 for a while, 4 to 5 every single day. And because I'm just creating myself. I'm creating a business course at the moment, so I'm flat out. I'm a part of its content, and I'm broken down as you're a starter, you're intermediate, and you're advanced at creating content. If you're a starter, it's you're doing a few posts a week, right? If you're intermediate, that's 3 to 4. You're not worried about quality as much. You're worried more about volume, and you want to get that done. So you're so comfortable because you're comfortable speaking and creating quickly. Because you want to find out what works, right? Because if you get one banging video, something absolutely banging, and it reaches 40,000 people, that's better than, 4 posts that hit 1,000, right? So, but at intermediate stage, who cares? You're there to learn. Just post as much as you can and start finding out what works, find the outliers, and then start shifting. And then when you find what's good, now you find sort of your voice and your tone and what you're saying, and your audience starting to you find yourself in front of the camera. And then when you get to advanced, it's cool. That's 1 to 2 high quality pieces of content every day. Yeah. So we're at 2 at the moment. Yeah. So we're leaning more, we're really focusing. So behind the scenes, we're not just, whipping my camera out and doing this. I'm writing scripts. Structured. Every day. It takes me, sometimes 15 minutes to 20 minutes to record one 20-second reel, because I'm putting lighting over here. I've got mic over here. I've got camera moving here. This spot here, that doesn't look good there. Lighting there is bad. How do you want to sit and move the camera here? Okay. one sentence. All right, let's go back to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it takes like a lot of effort, but that is going to produce high quality results.
It's crazy how similar certain aspects of your business are to our business.
They're the same, man.
Because you're putting yourself out there.
Yep.
You're like, hello, this is what I do. This is what I'm up to. This is me. This is my culture. This is what I believe in. This is how I can help people. This is a story of me helping someone. This is someone that I've just helped speaking about this. And we are exactly the same in real estate. And then our customer will eventually click onto this. And then we've got the opportunity to do business with these people and not just make a commission off them. It's actually to affect them and help their life. So it's a very similar, not quite the same, but very similar sort of business. And then this person becomes one of your raving fans, or they become one of your clients for life. And then this person's always connected to you, and they help you grow, and they help you become they help you get more business down the track. And it's a very, very similar sort of business model, because that's how I found you. Like, I was watching all of your content online, and I was just like, oh yeah. And then I was like, this is starting to speak to me. I'm starting to see that maybe he's talking to me. And suddenly, bang, I get a message from you. You say hello. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy to talk to this person. And it's the same with the sellers agents. It's the same with your future clients. Like, they're watching you. They're watching how committed you are, how much you want to turn up, and being your authentic self, So, like, what's stopping them from turning up every day on social?
Oh yeah, this is such a good topic, because it all comes down to personal development. I just want to say, it's crazy, right? Make this point. If you're a PT, how do you change someone's life? You change their mind first before they change their body, right? You give them some sort of concept, make them believe in themselves, right? And they have this relationship with you, like, oh, this is fantastic. I worked with a plumber for like 8 months, right? He owned a plumbing business. His strategy for getting clients was the same as mine, all through DMs and Instagram.
Yeah.
Whole strategy, right? And he's like, yeah, I send like 40, 50 DMs a day. I'm like, hell yes. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I have so much work and I'm blowing up like with everything, because he's sending so much. But even as a plumber, when you talk to your clients and you can, on that hierarchy, like, build relationships, really well with people, you're confident about yourself, and people go, oh, I want to be around this person. They're like infectious and charismatic. They make me feel so good about myself. They make me feel like I can do anything. Of course I'm going to invest into the plumber. Yeah. There's no difference. The same thing, real estate agents, like that, when you talk to someone and you help them buy the house and they see it and you celebrate them and they win, and they have this whole mind transformation, because some people have so much doubt around buying a house, right? Oh, is it for me? Should I? And it's all self-worth issues, right? Because they feel they don't deserve a house that they, their dream home that they might be moving into. They're like, oh, I can't believe this thing. And then they'll try to self-sabotage themselves. Yeah. That's personal development, right? It is, right?
So true.
Crazy. So you're helping people uncover these mental blocks to make a decision. It's literally exactly the same, except yours has a real tangible outcome of like, I can see that I have a house, right? When mine is, it's like you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I see that I'm performing better, and I have this like emotion thing, and then I look at other areas of my life and I start seeing results. Like, everything's improving by like 20-30%. Yeah, you can see it, right? It's crazy. So what was the original question? Because that was the point that I wanted to make, and now I want to.
So what's stopping them from doing this every day then?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they why wouldn't they put themselves out there?
Exactly, right? So one is, I believe, and it's so true, I just heard someone talking about it. It's like, social media is the gold rush of the modern age, right? Remember, like, ages ago, like California and stuff, they'd have these gold rushes and everyone would move everywhere to like get gold. It's the same thing. There is so much digital real estate to be taken. It's like, here's the new land, like Australia back in the day. Essentially what would happen was, had all this new land, and if you're a settler, you can come in and just go, claim, this is my land. All of that. Put a fence around it, it's yours.
Yeah.
That was Australia.
Yeah.
And then the swag men, who used to go around and work at all the different farms, they didn't claim anything. So now they're swag men.
Yeah.
Right? And they got nothing. They just go around and work on everyone's farm. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. In the digital side, you've got digital real estate that you can claim, right?
Yep.
And it gets niched down. You could be the homeowner that's known as the person that only sells to single mums in one location, like the real estate agent. Every single mum's going to go to you.
Seriously.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's digital real estate.
That's niche.
That's niche. And then you say no to everyone else. This is my area. I own this, right? You get down to that, right?
Yep.
So it's just firstly understanding, like, we're in such a good opportunity and content is literally everything. And I for myself, I'm like, my grandchildren's grandchildren are going to do research on me, right? So I want to put as much as I can out there, right?
Yeah. And it's good to look back on as well. It's like, it's a story, like we started filming ourselves, you know, and doing these vloggy type things. Like this, I'm talking like 15 years.
Oh, yes.
You know, like, you see some of them like horrific, and they're funny too. But like you go back, if like we want to have a laugh, we'll bring up the YouTube, we'll watch this, and like we sit around and we're just like, wow, what were we thinking? But it's funny to watch. Like take, I don't know, like it is good to get business, and it's good for that, but it's also great for you for one day to look back on, I reckon.
It's awesome, right? It's awesome.
Watch your growth. And again, you're coming from then how much I've grown rather than,
you're putting yourself
be this person
in a gain rather than a gap.
Yeah.
Right? Shout out Dan Sullivan. That book's fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like that's one, that's nice. But then like it's just really understanding how powerful the opportunity is, right? It's like, dare anyone to do this, okay? Fill a room full of 50 people.
Yep.
Strangers.
Yep.
Try and do that.
Yep.
Can't. Get 1,000 likes or get 1,000 views on a reel.
Yep.
Do 2 of those a day. I guarantee I'm going to get 1,000 views.
Yeah.
1,000 people are going to see a piece of content.
Yeah.
You know how many people that is? I had one reel hit 11 million views.
Crazy.
That's half the population of Australia.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The entire of Australia, right? Who some of them don't even have internet. You know what I mean? Right. That is absolutely incredible. You get a few of those, it's just insane, right? So you can claim this real estate, but the thing that prevents people from getting there is the same thing that prevents people from buying a house. Is these limiting beliefs, self-sabotage. Like one thing that I know for sure is that if you're uncomfortable to speak in front of a camera, it's like you're uncomfortable yourself. You don't know who you are. You've been wearing a mask.
Yep.
If you're uncomfortable, there is some sort of mask that you've been wearing. You're showing up like a fake in areas in your life, and you don't want to be shown up in the camera because you don't want to see how much of a fake that you've been. So you go, whoa, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
Whew, what work do I got to do for that one? Right. That's some inner work, right? Let's find out who you truly are so that you can get into your body and be more comfortable.
Yeah.
That is, that's one. Another mask could be the scare, like the fear of judgment, right? And that may be because you're mediocre. You want to be living a good life. So you're comparing yourself, putting yourself in a gap. And it's like, cool, if I put myself out there, other people are going to think that I'm mediocre, or I have to show, or I have to put all of this pressure and responsibility on myself to prove to all these people who I really am. No one cares. Right? Like no one cares. I did a study on social media, and I interviewed just so many people that I knew, right? And I was like 24, 25 when I did it. I got like 250 people to do a study. And the number one reason, this is not fake accounts, bot accounts, like people who are like 11 years old who have accounts that are just troll hate and stuff. And I said, what was it was 99% of the people put in there, the reason that they're on social media was to spread love.
Well,
to spread love.
Yeah.
Right. It was to spread love. And I was like, that is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from someone who has hate comments on my shit, who, you know, people are swearing at me, yelling at me in my DMs, like, fuck you, all this stuff, who comment in Chloe's DMs, like, you should break up with this guy and shit like that from posts that I said because I told people to stop going to the pub because it's weak, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and then people are like, whoa, but the reason that I do it is because, like, I see people, like, struggling with alcohol and I want to help them, like, become better, right?
But you're going to get way more views with that kind of content because it's a reaction content or...
Exactly.
You know.
And every single person that I spoke to, like I've hired copywriters, I've hired like branding experts, I've hired like social media coaches, and they're like, oh, that's one of the best piece of content you've done.
Yeah.
Right? From their perspective, that one was awesome. Like you got them, right? You got them right where you wanted them in terms of that. And it was like,
you want to get people upset or raging or something.
Well, sort of, right? But that's not the message. So in Set the Standard, that's not the message that we want to get across.
No.
Because the message that we want to get across is more uplifting.
Yeah.
So like, cool, that works. And we do that like sometimes in our coaching to get under people's skins. And we were like, okay, let's do this, but less frequently. What's the brand that we want to create in the persona? Like, we want to encourage people to be better. You know? And if that is getting in there, sometimes you will, but most of it is like, how can we bring them up? And we do. But to answer your question, it's just noticing that it's basically we have this wild opportunity, and business is all about personal development. Our relationship is all about your own growth, and showing up on social media is all about your own growth. Yeah. And if you want to extract your full potential, that's what's going to come from you. It's the same way of speaking in front of people, same way of getting in front of camera. But when you do, you can completely change your life.
Yep.
Completely. There are people who have like 3,000. One of my friends has like 4,000 followers on Instagram, and they're making like 100 to 120K a month every month with only 4,000 followers.
Wow.
Selling coaching programs and coaching. right?
So good.
And they're only getting 1,000. You know, some of their reels are 200. Other ones of their reels are
He's
4,000.
obviously found his niche.
It's a her. It's a she.
found
Yeah,
her
but she's
niche.
kind of, but she hasn't so much found her niche as much as she has loved the topic that she's wanted to talk about. She's posted 2 to 3 times a day, every single day.
Yep.
She posts amazing stories every single day. She's delivering high quality. You could watch her stories every day and take a piece of value from it, be motivated and become better just from watching her stories, right?
Yeah.
But she's done that for like 4 or 5 years. And now, because she's putting so many deposits into the bank, right? Every day, deposit, right? It starts compounding. When she goes, oh, I want to withdraw some money, she goes, hey, buy this program. It's going to change your life. Everyone's like, well, hell yeah, I'm buying that program.
Definitely.
You've already changed my life.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Give.
Yeah. So, and that's a really good opportunity for real estate agents, because I think and one thing that you highlighted for me, you're like, everyone follows all the other real estate agents and they all do the same shit, right? I'm like, imagine instead if you treated your clients like movie stars. You're like, hey, this is my client, Deborah, right? What kind of like house have you got? Like, oh, well, like, why are you selling a house? Like, well, we're a family of 4 and the kids have grown up right now. It's the most beautiful family home ever. We had the best memories there, and 2 are moving out, and we're like, we want to downsize. It's like too big for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's like, and like, we don't really want to part with it, but it's just not practical for us. But yeah, we had the best memories here. We had a birthday here once where this thing happened. It was incredible. So for new families,
Favorite room. And
yeah, you can be the real estate agent. You're not even selling the house.
Yeah.
Make the owners sell it. You know what I mean? Then you say like, perfect. So if you're someone who wants a family and you've got some new kids and you want to get a family, you can have a birthday just like she did.
Yeah.
Right? And someone's going to be like, oh, hell yeah. That look awesome.
Point is looking at that lady thinking, I'm the same as that person.
It's getting creative.
This person is working together and obviously they're speaking to me, would like to work with me now.
Yeah.
Because maybe they thought that maybe you didn't want their business.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
And then people are going to buy into your personality. So like one thing I've done recently is I've bought a mannequin, $140 from Woolworths, delivered straight to your door.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill that thing. I'm going to beat the shit out of it, right? For content, right? So my thing is like, that's the old version of yourself.
Yeah.
I want to be the best version of myself. I'm like, this is how you kill the old version of yourself. And then literally just like, I'm going to do some wild shit to it, right?
Nice.
That's going to be fun for a piece of content because it's like going to be engaging. And it's like, let's say you're on the mannequin theme and that's part of your personality. I like doing weird shit like that, masks and all that shit. Like I like doing weird shit. Like imagine if you set up like a piece of content of like a funny one of walking from someone's house, but you set up mannequins all in the house. Just people are like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like watching someone's content of like weird and you just being like real serious or something, if that's like your sort of humor. And then you're like, oh yeah, and you can see here like Deborah and the kids, and it's just like these mannequin kids and people are like, what the shit? Like looking at this. That's going to generate a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
Because it's so different and so unique of this idea that you've created something weird. If you're a weird type of individual, like embrace that. Yeah. People are like, man, I love watching Glenn's content because Glenn's content, he always does this weird stuff with the open homes.
Yeah, there's this fine line. It's with real estate. It's like, trying to be classy to funny. If you can pull off the funny, like you have to. But there's a lot of people that can't pull it off, and then they go for it, and you're like, oh no, don't do it. It's
try,
but find out what works.
Find out what works. Yeah, find out what works.
Find
like
your style. Like
for you, in terms of whatever makes that funny, it's like how can I like incorporate this? Because there was a LinkedIn study done. I got this from Matt Purcell, who came onto my podcast. 80% of people who buy nowadays buy from founder-based content, which means they buy from you, not your company. Yeah. 80% of people, they don't give a shit about like, let's say, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's say that people don't care about set the standard, right? They're like, I see Corey, give me some fire. I want to go and invest whatever hell he's doing. I'm in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how do you then take everything to the next level if that is the case? So, you don't want to always be the person that you have to go to.
Oh, exactly right. But that's when you're like, for say example, like why would you buy a Tesla? Who's the first person you think of?
Yeah, Elon. Yeah.
Right? You believe in his product so well, right? That you're going to go and test that. You think you're going to, like, are we going to talk to Elon at the car dealership? Nope. But we know Elon created it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Elon started this big brand, which is like, amazing. So, and I think it's for real estate agents a little bit differently because obviously it's like you're like, if I work for Freedom Property, right? I'm Corey from Freedom Property, right? So it doesn't matter, like Freedom Property, they buying into me because I'm the real estate agent. Of course. Right? As you said, remember when you first come in, like all real estate agents, it's a popularity contest. Yeah. So how do you be popular, right? There's a couple of different ways, right? You can make a fuckload of money. Yeah. You have a lot of money, you're popular. Yeah. Rock up in a Lambo, done. Status, credit, all the time.
Yeah.
Another one, to be real popular, you got to have the drugs. You got to have the drugs, right? You got to have the drugs. People want to hang out with you, right?
Party.
Yep. You got to be able to get attention from the opposite sex.
Yep.
Right? People want to get around you. Oh, that's a popular person, right? Or, and this is, you got to be yourself.
Yep.
Which one's the scariest?
Might get a Lambo, eh?
Exactly. It's like, you know what? Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm riding in a Lambo. Fuck,
You're
being
saying get a
myself.
Lambo.
Scary. Right? Exactly. Yeah. So, like, but they're the things that work. So, and what are people going to buy into? Which one's going to last the longest as well in terms of a social profile?
Yeah.
Because it's your digital imprint. Like, that is you. So obviously, it's being yourself.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, embrace it.
My old business partner, Randall, who was very instrumental in my growth, he always used to say to me as I was coming up, he's like, when you really care, he's like, and I was like, no, I care about the customer. He's like, no, but when you really care, because he was like on this care level, like 10. And I was like, yeah, no, I care. Like, I know what you're saying. I care. But then all of a sudden, it does just boom, this thing happens where you start to really care. And something happens in your life and you're like, oh my God, now I really care, and that's authentic, that's what people will feel when they're with you,
Yeah, it's cool. And that's to put like a skill on that. It's working on your ability to give and receive love.
Yep.
Like that's the skill level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, let's end it there.
Cool.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cool.
Appreciate you. If you haven't heard of Corey before, where can we find you?
Yep, cool. So you head to my Instagram, Corey Boutwell. So it's like about a well, but just take out the A's.
Yep.
I have a podcast called Corey Boutwell Podcast. If you want to learn how to upgrade your mindset, you want to learn to become a better version of yourself.
Yep.
Basically, all of my tools are in there.
Yep.
You listen to that, you can become an absolute G just from listening to all of those.
Sure.
Like honestly, you become better at like most things. And then you can visit my website, CoreyBoutwell.com, to come to one of my retreats. We hold retreats 2 to 3 times a year. They're absolutely incredible and mind-blowing. And my community, Set the Standard community, which is for men, but we do occasional catch-ups as well for women too. And if you're a woman, you just see Chloe. You know what I mean? So she does all of it as well.
No, Corey's my coach. It works. So appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.